Hey everyone, so today I have a super simple tutorial for you today on this look that I am wearing now, and it is my smoky eye inspired by the Olsen twins, particularly Mary Kate, and it is, like I said, a very easy makeup look to do, and I was inspired to do it because I'm trying to find a new hairstyle to wear throughout I don't know, the summer months, or just to wear a new style. I'm in a slump. And I'd recently gotten my hair dyed, and there's these two panels of red on the side, if you can see that. And I'm in love with them, but I needed some sort of style that can actually showcase them, and just straightening my hair was not doing it. So my hair dries similar to this naturally, and I just kind of randomly, whatever. Maybe that will be a future tutorial if it's requested, but I figured that is kind of boho chic hair, similar to some famous celebrities, so I should do a makeup look to match it. And that's what I did, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you're interested in seeing how to recreate this look, then stay tuned. So I've already prepped my face by applying a moisturizer all over and have given it a few minutes to actually set in and sink into the skin. And I'm trying to finish up my Clinique Dramatically Different, so that's the one that I just used. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually take two different foundations, and I've chosen to use MAC Studio Sculpt, and I have shades NC20 and NW25, so they're two different skin tones and two different shades, but when I mix them they kind of work well for my skin tone, at least the shade that I'm at now. So I'm just going to take a little bit of each and put it right here. So just about that much. And then I'm going to take a flat top brush by Sony Kashik. I picked this up from Target, and I'm just going to use the back side of the handle to kind of mix those together, and just kind of want to focus on the center part of the face, because that tends to be where most people carry discoloration and hyperpigmentation. Take whatever's left, and then I'm going to spread that along my neck and jawline. I'm going to use the Creamy Concealer by Bobbi Brown, and my shade is in Warm Beige. And I'm going to take an Eco Tools concealer brush, just get a little bit on there, pat it underneath, and just blend it out and get any blemishes. I'm also going to take just whatever is left on the brush and take it around my lips and blend that out just to get out any redness, and also around the nose. So just whatever is excess on the brush. Now let's move on to the eyes. First I'm going to take a paint pot by MAC, and this is in the shade Soft Ochre. And I'm just going to take that all the way up to the brow bone, into the inner tear duct area. And I'm also going to take a brush actually, just so that I can get the paint pot underneath it a little bit better. I'm going to slide that right beneath my lower lash line. I'm primarily going to use two different shadow colors today. I'm going to use Tempting by MAC and also Mulch. These are very similar colors. One is just a little bit deeper than the other, and they're also different finishes. So I'm going to take Tempting first, and I'm going to use just a flat eyeshadow shader brush, and I'm going to put that all over the lid, just underneath my natural crease. Next I'm going to take Mulch, and I am going to, again on that same shader brush, get a little bit, and I'm just going to push it right on the outside and outer crease area. So just right here. I'm going to take the brush, put it this way down into the shadow, and then I'm going to brush that right underneath my lower lashes. And this is where I'm actually going to pack on the color and make it really smoky under here, all the way to the tear duct. And the next thing I'm going to do is grab a fluffy brush. This one is clean, so there's no product on it, and I'm just going to buff out the edge of this shadow. So you can see this one is buffed out and this one is not. There's a big difference. I'm going to add a little bit of All That Glitters as an inner highlight. Next I'm just going to grab a highlight color for underneath the brow, and I'm going to blend that right into where the shadow stopped, which should already look pretty seamless, but this is just to make sure. Just going to clean it up again with the buffing brush. Now I'm just going to take a black kohl liner and put it all along the upper lash line, lower lash line, and pretty much everywhere in between. The Olsen twins really like their liner, and this look is very, very smoky. I'm going to take it on the waterline as well. And I'm also going to tightline. And then to get that really smudgy look, what I like to do is take a little bit of the eye kohl and run some on the back of your hand. Grab a thinner brush like this, pick it up with the brush, and then really work it in between the lashes. And this makes such a difference, as you can tell. I'm going to take my pencil brush, and this is a 219 by MAC, and I'm going to smudge out the top line. And I'm just kind of going to rest it on my lid like this and move it back and forth. You kind of have to play around with this technique a little bit, but what I'm going to do is just smudge that out really well and then kind of flick it upwards onto the lid, if that makes any sense. Grab the shader brush that you were using before, dip it back into Tempting, the first color, and we're just going to lightly pat a little bit of product on top. And then what you're going to do is just drag up. That way we've made a really kind of smoky line across the top lash line. I'm making a last minute decision, and I think I'm actually going to carry the eyeshadow color a little bit further into the crease area. So I'm going to grab Tempting again on that brush and just pat it a little bit higher and kind of turn the brush sideways and swish it back and forth. I'm going to grab my blending brush again and just blend that out one more time. Next, I'm going to work on my brows really quick, and I'm just going to brush through them. After brushing through them, a clear brow gel and not too much product, hopefully. Just lightly brush through that. And then, because I don't have an eyebrow pencil at the time, I really need a new one. I'm just going to fill them in with eyeshadow, and this is Embark, I believe, by MAC, and I'm going to use that cleaned off flat brush and dip it into the shadow, and then while the gel is still a little bit wet, I'm just going to sweep this shadow in there, and that way the color is going to last a lot longer. Kind of like a tinted gel. And I'm just sweeping that through areas that are a little bit sparse and need a little bit of help. And then when I get to this part right here, I like to take it, dip it in like that, and then put it at the base and flick up. And that kind of gives me the shape that I want most likely, or most often I should say. I'm just going to sweep that gel through my brows one more time to lock in the color. Next, I'm going to curl my lashes. And then the perfect mascara I have found for any type of smoky eye look, particularly this kind, is going to be Makeup Forever's Smoky Lash. This is just the most amazing mascara as far as really making some sort of sultry eye look complete. I'm just going to add a couple coats of this, and then also on the bottom. Next, what I'm going to do is grab a cheek color, and I'm going to use Dame by MAC. And I'm just going to take a 165 and get a little bit on there I'm going to put it back here. Nowhere near the apples. I just want to focus it back in this region. The next thing I'm going to do is contour quite a bit, and I am going to use my 150, I think that's what this is. My numbers have worn off, but the large powder brush from MAC, and this is actually a really good contouring, a light contouring, kind of more casual contouring brush, and it has a tapered tip, as you can see, and I'm just going to put that brush down into the product, and I'm using Harmony to contour, and I'm just going to put it right in the temples, and I'm also going to carve out some cheekbones, which I don't really have at all, and I'm just going to work my way from the back directly underneath the cheek color. And sometimes I even pinch it just to make it a little bit more precise. Just kind of hold it like this, which is kind of awkward, but you get used to it. And like I said, just work it from the top of the ear down to your corner of your mouth, and you just work it in that direction, and then you can just lightly buff it downwards. So you can see how amazing contouring is. It just gives you bone shapes and structures that you don't naturally have. So contouring and highlighting is such an amazing technique, and I should probably do a video on that alone. And now I'm just going to take a translucent powder, lightly set the foundation. And this is a more dewy foundation, like I said, and I tend to get oily throughout the day. I used to have fairly dry skin, but it's starting to change, which is very strange, but you know, I'm just gonna roll with it. So I'm taking this Makeup Forever translucent powder, and I'm just gonna buff it using a 109 in circular motions anywhere that I know I'm gonna get oily throughout the day, take down the shine a little bit. Okay, next moving on to the lips, I'm going to use a fairly nude color by MAC, and this is Creme D'Nude, and I'm just gonna lightly dab this on. Lastly, I'm just gonna add a little bit of dimension and structure to my lips with a lip pencil, and I'm just gonna use a rose colored pencil, and I'm gonna take it right in this area and at my Cupid's bow, and that's it. I like to overdraw down here just so that it looks a little bit more pouty. And I'm just gonna push that in. And finally, I'm just going to add a little bit of a gloss. I'm just going to put that on the center pout. And that is the completed look for my Mary-Kate Olsen / Olsen Twin Smoky Eye look. I hope that you enjoyed. It was fairly simple, and I hope that you find it simple to recreate if you so choose, and definitely leave any suggestions below if you may have them. And until next time.